last week, we were supposed to have a demo from Hisham, which we saw momentarily, and then we left. So we didn't get a demo from Hisham. No topics. I really talked about something, I think. There was someone, I believe, wanted to pick the question, so I don't remember what we talked about. Today, I see that Victoria is here, so we won't wait end of the meeting to let Victoria say something.
Thank you.
And we may have some demos.
Not really a demo, but more like an announcement / discussion from me.
I'll put you in the topics. Maybe Hisham will join and show us something. We'll see. So let's start with Victoria, and then I do the status after. This way, if you want to stay or leave Victoria, you will be free.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to mention again that the Orchard Harvest Conference will take place in Las Vegas this September. And we are still open to companies who would like to sponsor our event. And you can contact us using the orchardharvest@lombiq.com or the contact@orchardcore.net email address. And you can also write us on the GitHub channel, which is dedicated to the Orchard Harvest 2024. And you can read weekly updates about organizing the event. And some updates about the event is that thanks to Mike, we have a new and even more exciting option for the location in Las Vegas. We are in contact with the Orleans Hotel and Casino, and their quote sounds really promising. So now we are evaluating this option, and I hope that we will be able to finalize it as soon as possible. And this location is even better because we have a chance to book the rooms as well there, so we don't even have to commute from the location. I don't know, maybe Mike, you would like to mention something about it?
There's really not a whole lot. I just think I visited that venue that we're talking about, and I just don't know if it is really a good fit for a Las Vegas convention. You know, I think having it in some sort of a casino and hotel might be better for the attendees. I think they'll have a better experience from, you know, just being in the casino. They don't have to commute, and also just being in that environment. I think it's much nicer. So that's where that idea came from, and we're just evaluating cost to see if it's feasible. And it sounds like, you know, the numbers are, well, slightly higher than the first venue, but I think it's still a better option for us. We still need to make a decision as soon as possible, because we need to make a commitment, and we need to make an announcement, and we need to know who is really serious, and we need to then push to try to hopefully get more than potentially 30 people to show up. At least that's the idea.
Yes, and the atmosphere would be much more likely what you would expect if you are traveling to Las Vegas than the previous one. Okay, thank you very much again. And that was the update from me.
Okay, thank you. Site links, discussion, updates here. Good. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Mike. Let's go back to the status and then we'll let Zoltan talk. Unless Zoltan, you want to do it now and leave after.
Not really.
Okay.
It's fine to
as
go.
you want, because it's late.
Yeah, please go.
Status. Status. Let me check if it are good. Lot of branching. Up to date. So last week it was the 16th. Yeah, it's not beautiful here. So what did I do? That we see everything. I don't know. That's weird. Okay. What about here? Okay, well, that's it. 16 recompiling clients and assets. We saw that last week. Merge branch, checkbox to StringFilterForm to control whether an empty value should cause the filter to be skipped. Yeah, so there was another PR that Benedek explained to us last week during triage that was doing too many things. So he proposed a solution that was reusable across all the filters. Not contains, yeah, it removes the use of contains any if provided here and has a checkbox for that option that would work everywhere. Updating Microsoft.IdentityModel packages, structure filing folder name validation, checking for file name validation issue, translation here, translation there. I don't think we translate our messages in the logs, or we don't translate the logs at all. I don't think so.
Yeah, that shouldn't really be localized.
Bad Benedek. So data validation. I don't remember exactly. Media file names. I remember there was an issue with the extensions. So that is fixed. Adding a content independent culture selector shape for the front end. Content independent culture selector shape. Benedek realized that the core string builder that we mentioned was only available in the .NET Core. So we had to make one similar. That is quick translation. And we have a user culture selector shape. Terrain. One second. Someone's at the door. I'll be back.
It's more than 1 second.
I am back. Received a box. Adding a content culture selector shape for the front end. Switching shapes, switching cultures for the content item. Rest is refactoring. Maintenance fixing consistency between different enumeration fields. Those messages, like it's a novel in every title, fixing consistency between different enumeration field flavors, data storage. Okay, probably simplifying how the CSV values are handled in the storage. And that is refactoring. HtmlFilter and TokenFilter improvement and bugfixes. A PR from Sitemaps that Benedict has merged. HtmlFilter context. It used to be flavor and now it's favor and the property bag of things. Okay. Merge one next into dev, one next into dev, and this one, all the nudges to the dev branch. So there seems to be close to a release. Maybe. Open it, we'll see on. We won't see on Thursday, by the way, what I think about it. Thursday I will be traveling, so there won't be a triage with me, at least. If someone can open the meeting and wants to do that, feel free. Orchard 1, Orchard Core 16. Here, Isham displays the feature as native name and content culture picture. Current culture that commit is name. I think this is something we've done in some other places. Native name. Native pre-name for this vector. Okay, so in the language that represents might be there. And what does the toString return? There is no toString for that. We use the native name here, which makes sense, frankly. Removing unnecessarily negative code owners. Okay. unused, old, so we need. Hisham is still active here. Last one.
Sorry, say again?
I said Hisham is still active here. It's from the list. I was looking at the list and I'm like, yeah, was active from this list. Hisham, just my mic.
Yeah.
Adding GitHub Actions workflow to close state. Yeah, that's so bold. Like, Or it's just tagging. And then
It's doing that. So it waits 60 days since the last activity, and last activity is anything. So commit, comments, labeling.
okay.
And after that, it will comment the first message and add a label. And 15 days after that, will it also close it?
Okay. Let's see how it goes. Update MailKit and MimeKit 450. Fix concurrency exception with sitemaps. Sitemap concurrency exception. Distributed lock. So how is a sitemap generated? Is it a file or is it an entity?
It's both actually. So foremost, there's a single document for all the sitemaps of a tenant. And when you request that, then there will be a file cached in the web root. That's not an issue. What's the problem here is that the single documents, updates to the single document needed to be synchronized. Otherwise, you will get an exception if you hit publish on 2 content items at once.
Okay, if you have a single node, is this implementation like one node, but in memory step?
Yes, it's a simple semaphore.
Okay. Fix Dockerfile because there was this file that was more recent than the Dockerfile that was required to build in Docker. So this is fixed. Thanks, Mike. Fix frontend assets being outdated. All these files, well, these ones are the same. Some of them are outdated. So why don't we have a task that does it now automatically to verify that they are up to date when we commit something? Didn't someone do that?
We have a couple of things. First, there's a gulp task that generates these assets. That has been there for years. Then we also have a workflow that checks whether you actually have run it. Yeah, that's something we had for years as well. What I did now is that first of all, that workflow now actually works, because previously it didn't actually show that there were issues.
Isn't it a new one? I thought it was a new one.
It's not a new one. I've modified it heavily, but it has existed for a very long time.
I didn't remember that. Interesting. Because I filed an issue not long ago to say we should have a workflow to verify that. So we had one, but it was not working.
Yes. When we updated the GitHub Actions workflows to the latest dependencies to get rid of some warnings with Mike, then I noticed that this is not actually working. And that we also have outdated assets that should be regenerated. So now I've regenerated them. I also, with the help of Mike, made that asset building more reliable. So now it's, if the output files changed, that's only because the input files changed. Previously, this wasn't the case. And certainly this is now also automatically checked from that workflow. But nevertheless, we need a much better story where we don't store these build outputs in the repository.
Why? Why is it? Well, it's not an issue to store them in the repository, right? But I think there are better options, but it's not an issue itself.
Well, it kind of is. Apart from theoretical issues, because this is like storing the output DLLs of .NET compilation in the repository. Apart from that, this needs maintenance, so you as a contributor need to remember to update these. At least now you will be reminded. And secondly, this always causes merge conflicts. So these files can't really be merged automatically. There are always conflicts if two people work on the same thing. It's a hassle.
Yeah, but nobody updates Trimble at the same time in two different PRs with different versions. So that's usually not a problem.
It's it's not a huge problem. It's an annoyance. So even in the last few weeks, I've seen this happening multiple times. But the whole thing should be better.
But if you don't do it as part of the source code check-in, it means everyone will have to do it on their machines, probably every time.
That's one option, yes, and that would have that drawback. But I think we can actually do without the builds, without static asset builds.
I saw the discussion that the problem is that you might be able for 90% of the libraries, but some of the ones that we use, they will still require that. Or we need to change how we use this library. So that, if you manage to do that, that's good. But it might be hard for some of the libraries or finding replacements. The no build thing. If you don't have like as many external dependencies as we do, that might work. Now I'm not sure it will work. I hope it works. We'll see. Good.
Yeah, we should look into it.
Thank you. Remove ReCaptchaLoginFilter. Just this file, I'm like, uh-oh. The implication of a change like this. What is this PR? I was like, yes, That's not how it works. Only email address was allowed. So do you know it was not a feature that only email addresses were allowed?
It was incorrect. Look at that second issue that's referenced, because we allow registering. So it's a settings that we just didn't honor.
Okay.
And now we do. Like when you
There is
reset
a
a
setting.
password. Yeah. So now we honor the settings, and the good thing is that there's a test cases that test for that too now.
Yeah. There have been some discussions, written issues about when we changed how to identify a user by email or by username, what we put in an email, what we put on a username, and user IDs when it was introduced. So there is a bunch of discussions that need to be read when you do some changes like this, because there were lots of security implications. That's what I taken into account. Dean was part of the discussion, Kevin was part of the discussion. And when I see that, I'm like, yes, so if you fixed an issue, fine. Like, oh, we want it to be unique and it was not unique. Okay. But if you change what you can pass as an argument.
No, it doesn't
like
change
this,
the default. So the current behavior is the same. But like if you're resetting a password, you know, you can reset it using a username and a password. And also all these UI are now shaped. So we're able to, you know, correctly inject based on dependency availability.
okay, this way around like email to identifier seems good. So but here I see identifier user at username.
Now,
So
I'm not
what do you
sure
call
what class
identifier?
are you in. Identifier could be a username and it also could be a password. I'm sorry, it could be an email. So get either or.
Okay, it's not like a unique ID for a user. We don't have that.
No, in this case, because when the users are prompted, they have, you know, we say, you know, to start the process, give me your username and your or email address. So you provide an identifier, one of those two, and then we try to find you using that, and then we send you an email to reset your password.
user ID. So we have user ID. But what is that? And I don't want to use that page. User account info. So that's something to do. You see, that's what I was mentioning. So there is actually an anonymized user identifier.
Yes, there is, but you are looking at a view model. You're asking the user to
Mhm.
provide their identifier, which is username or password. We're not asking them to give us an ID in the form. That's what that is.
So 2020, right now it's possible. Is it? That's a question. To create a new account with an email that already exists in a database. You should be able to support login with a username or an email, and it might choose the option. Support being able to log in with only the email or only the username. You might have options now. So at that time, it was just reflections, okay? And then there were discussions, and then decided to go with some implementation. The identifier of user account should not be editable. So that's the user ID. And for security reasons, as if an account is deleted, another account will be the previous identifier to implement definitions. This preference into an account, blah blah blah. So these are the reasons why we should have an identifier, but we have one now. The user account should be random, okay? Can't use the username as an identifier, as it is provided by user input, okay? Which means the user ID is not the username, unless for very old setups before this thing, and probably we use that as the user ID. We need to create a new property, so that's done. We can use existing username as identifiers for existing accounts, as well as what I just said. We need to understand that name present and false related to 140. Implement ID and not the new identifier. Okay, and that's what Tim implemented here. We can share how much should be table. Okay. In the context of permission, claim the name identifier is the claim mapped to our user ID. Name is what is what identity name, okay. Okay, now I have my mind refreshed now. So here, this is just the view model. You said that it is passed as by the user. So they provide. And what is this change, for instance? Here, see the reset. So this identifier is a new property on the view model.
Yeah, the identifier is a new property and email is marked obsolete.
Okay, and now you pass the username in the view model instead of the email.
I'm not sure what you're looking at. Let me pull it up here.
This is a password view model. This one obsolete. This one required identifier. Username or email address. Okay, so can provide both for the reset password. And before it was only the email address. And yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I think there's a problem here. Because when you do get user async, you say identifier. When I read that, I'm like, this is the identifier. This is not the username. This is not the email. So I would be willing to pass an identifier here, the user ID. But it will just not work. Okay. My concern is that before it was testing the username and the password and the parameter was username. So there was no ambiguity. You pass me a username and I will search for find by name, the username. No, it was not. It was also looking by email. Sorry, so I didn't see that. So it's also looking by email like before.
Yeah, the logic there didn't change. It's
Okay,
just the
sorry.
parameter because username is invalid.
Okay,
you know.
So the only thing, so this is not worse, but I don't see how it is better because now I knew I could pass a username if I read that, and there is a user ID. This is not what it asks. It asks for email or username.
Yeah, so identifier means a username and password and all here. And then there is a parameter called user ID. And then there's another parameter called username and one an email. So if you pass user ID, then
in the get user async, oh, there is a get user by unique ID async. Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is, yeah, I would have changed that. And if there are, yeah.
I mean, if you have a better name, I can rename them. I do agree that identifier is not perfect, but
it's clear to you because you just made this PR and you know that this PR is identifier. But yeah, for me, it's like email or username.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense.
It's
we
just
can
a name
probably
of like
relabel that to easier.
But it helps to understand.
Well, I mean, no, actually, it's not a bad idea, but I think we also should change it even in the view models instead of call it identifier in the view models. Maybe we should call it username and email or email
or something that is less, that is more generic because meaning identifier has some meaning. So let's use something that use like text, like whatever you want, you know, but not identifier because when I say identifier, I want some unique ID. That's what I want here. Okay,
yeah,
so
I'll change it to something else, other username or password or username or email, unless someone has a better name. But yeah, I agree to change the name. That's good.
Okay, so here still I was like, yeah, because this one can be used for the username or the email, and that's a risk. And actually, I said no, it's the same implementation, so it's not more risky. But yes, here when I look at that, before it was not calling get user, it was calling find by email. And now the thing that we pass now which used to be email address explicitly, can be anything. So now we can reset password by anything. That's okay. That may be what you wanted to. That's probably what you wanted to do, but I'm worried about should we do that? Why didn't it do that before? Reset password by username or by email. Username or email address. Okay.
I could be wrong here, but I think we have an option to say register user with like a email only without a username. I could be wrong, or adding or creating a user through like a third party where they don't use a username. So a username will be behind the scenes, but the identifier to them is an email. So I think we need to be able to reset a password by username or password, I'm sorry, username or email, just like we allow logging in using username or email.
And so that will mean that we can create an account without an email?
I don't.
Because what you explain is we can create an account without a username. And here the code that you change is that now we can reset a password which doesn't have an email, so just by username. Because before it was requesting an email to reset the password. So an email was mandatory. And now you are saying, now we can have just a username and no email. And that is weird to be able to reset a password with just a username, not sending an email, which would mean you could reset.
Well, no, you can't, because the service that actually resets the password, the one that generates the token, it emails it.
Okay.
So if you don't have an email, then you're not going to even get that, reset token.
Okay. So
but you should be able to reset.
Okay. I see. So without knowing your email or without typing. That might be valid. Like I forgot what email I used, but I remember my username. So send me the email and I will know which email I use for the username. Okay. That seems good. I hope it's not against the design. That's my only concern. I'm sure it works. I'm just worried it's adding some security issue that we don't think about. Like being able to detect username, detect emails, create accounts with a username that is matching an email of someone else. And then I can impersonate them because I created a username from another email. But I believe we check that. So all these things, that's scary. And that should be another issue where Kevin also explain all these things and what we should be able to do or not be able to do. Okay. And there are tests. Hopefully you don't break it. You didn't change the test, what they were testing, but there are tests at least.
Yeah, no, it's testing the same thing and added one more test. So there's more testing than before, that's for sure.
And I hope the tests before they were like ensuring we don't allow something that is unsecure. And that whatever you did, you don't break those things.
Yeah, the logic in the old test is identical. but then there's another test and added a new check. So it's more tests than before.
Okay. All these changes. Good. Next, display driver validation issue. Big PR from Jasper fixing all the drivers and how they validate stuff, how they update the models. The code is simpler. There is less if, there's less branching. The idea is that you always update the model. Don't check the result. Always update the view model and all the model, and then regenerate the edit form, such that if there was a validation issue, we still bind your values. We don't lose your values you entered. We just don't store the result. And that has been done on all the drivers. That's the simplification of the PR. It scares me. There are more changes than your security PR, but it scares me less because it's just a UI bug. If there is a validation issue, you can fix it. Security issues are much harder to fix. Detect also. What is that? Add edit button to the ContentPickerField edit view. Edit button based on permissions. View multi-select item view model. Is viewable, is editable, is clickable. That's a necessary model model. That's weird. Is clickable. That's lazy. We could do it there. But that's okay. It's just a view model. At least it should not be bindable. So apparently there's a new button. What's the difference? So here you see there is a link here. View if. So if the property is clickable is true, you can view the link. And the link goes to URL item. Okay? If this is true, we display that. If this is wrong, we display that. Okay? What's the difference between the two lines? Can anyone see something? I don't see anything. So it seems like there is an issue here. You see? Before there was one thing that was rendered, and now there is an if. But in both cases, the same thing that is rendered, which is the same thing as before. So I believe I'm missing something here. What file? This file, line 32.
There's no URL wrapped. Go back to that other view that you were looking at, the PR. There's no, yeah, that's a difference. So you see line 31. There's a link wrapper. Otherwise, it's just a span.
Okay, thank you. That's the difference. It's not in the generated thing, but in the attributes here. There is a link and there is no link. Okay, thank you. That's view thing. Interesting. So you can't have a condition in the attribute to say if it's not clickable in that. Okay, well. Good, thank you for noticing that. And now I'm looking at the PR because there seems to be some explanation here. Pick a field. So to view the item, that's great. So that's for new to view and probably to edit also if you can edit the thing. So that's good. It's like a good feature. Not a new contributor. I think last week we already mentioned him. Quick warnings as well during CI build. So if someone does something almost wrong, not passing. What I don't like, so there are two things I don't like. Sometimes you don't have all the good things. What I don't like is when I submit a PR and it was working fine on my machine. You submit the PR and then you look again and the PR doesn't work because there is a warning that is blocking the PR and I need to change my code again. I wish I had known the issue locally before I send the PR. At the same time, I don't like when on my local machine, there are all these rules that I have to comply with that prevents me from building locally. So I'd rather actually have, if it's blocking on the PR, I think it should block also locally. If we should have the same warnings, not wait for the PR to happen.
Yeah, so there are multiple facets to it. This is the first step. So we need this to prevent new warnings from entering the code base. And those warnings that will show up as errors and break the PR builds here should actually also show up as warnings almost for each of them, not necessarily all of them, but almost all of them should also show up as warnings locally.
Okay.
Now, going forward, we need to have a lot more static code analysis, I think, and for all of that, the warnings will also show up locally. Even for the JavaScript ones, not for CSS ones, but all the C# ones, at least. And the idea there, just as it kind of is currently already, is that locally you will have warnings, so you will see the issues, and you can choose to fix those issues already or just don't care about them, like while you are just prototyping. But we shouldn't merge a pull request with warnings, so that's why there will be build errors out of these warnings in CI.
Cool. Azure Identity updates, like every day there is a new update of Azure Identity. Blobs, web, Azure, new phone number, like all the new phone numbers that we get. mkdocs, ConcurrencyExceptions. Yeah, this one I commented last week. I haven't looked at the PR. I see there is a lot of activity from Isham and comments from Zoltan. My only comment I had when I saw the notifications and the PR was, what kind of abstraction do we need for health checks that is not already in ASP.NET?
It's really just do two classes that you see here at the bottom, yeah.
Health check options, I understand. So, well, that also is like, yeah, nah, who care about being able to change what is the URL of the health check? Maybe, I don't know. I don't use that much. That would be scary. Show details. I'd like to see what it does. Health check response writer.
Yeah, it is useful. You know, the thing here is, and why we have this, why we need this as opposed to ASP.NET Core having something like this, is because OSHit Core is modularized and we offer features built into OSHit Core. You can also roll your own modules and whatnot, and all of these can contribute to the health checks results. So we need some kind of things to, you know, like bring this together. So yeah, we have that simple
and that
there.
thing. So the health check publisher in .NET.
I don't know. Maybe we just reinvented the wheel.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying health check report. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what kind of abstraction would health check need more than is already in .NET? That's why I was asking, because there are many things with health checks, which to me is already detailed for health checks, which could just be like, oh, healthy, not healthy, done. But yeah, there is this thing, and there is also a thing that will automatically ping in the background your different services and then cache the result and then serve the results to the endpoints. There is already a way to change the URL of the endpoints if you don't write a one. Maybe it's not an option. So yeah, one maybe. So yeah, that's why I'm wondering. You see here, the response looks like the report thing. Health check entry. You see, like that. So I don't know. But I didn't look at the PR. Maybe I should have put there. But just if Hisham, listening to that, if you can check what's the difference with health check reports and health check publisher and all the things. Or maybe it does also. Let's look. It's InvalidOperationException. Okay. TypePartDefinition. Ref. Makes the GraphQL user type reusable. Oh, to fix the locking issue with the result async and the result locked. Maybe we saw that it was unique and we had a question. George about that, I think. I will look into this one. Look at that. In 1 week to update the your entity. Correlation ID. Also, okay. SectionDisplayDriver. Making changes because of the new tech model that just been fixed. Missing contributors. And recognize retain syntax with production. It's okay. It means okay, cool. Zoltan, you wanted to say something? Or not?
Yeah, something just very quickly. Here it is. So we are nearing 1.9. But then we can have a 1.10 because this is not a number. Before we need to have a 2.0, and I think we should make it about quality. Quality, improving quality, and adding automated quality assurance, because we have actually very little of it. Mostly unit tests, which are of course really useful, but we also need more of them. We also need static code analysis more, as we have already talked about today. We can also have static code analysis, not just for C#, but also for JavaScript and CSS, by the way, which is also quite useful. And we need UI tests as well. We just have like 4 or 5 functional tests that are very rudimentary smoke tests, and setting up a website, and pretty much that's it. We need a lot more, and especially we need a lot more because we have a huge amount of features. We have a lot of contributions, which is awesome, but there's just not enough capacity to review, test all of those, and errors do slip through. So what we had about migrating from JSON.NET to system text JSON, since 1.8 was, of course, quite an exceptional case, but it also brought like a dozen regressions. That's not an issue in itself, but that also shows how we don't have enough automated QA, because most of those were actually quite straightforward, like you enable a feature and there's an exception, or you can't save a specific editor. And those are all things that with some work and with a couple dozen UI tests, we can all catch. Not to mention that we also have holes in our UI testing suite as well, which would most possibly also catch some regression issues like that. So if you have any feedback on this, please write it there. I don't think we have much time today, although just shout now as well, of course. And I volunteer to work on static analysis and UI testing. Granted, there are two other people who can quickly review my pull requests and who I can quickly discuss some questions with. Yeah, please comment here.
Thank you.
And especially if you don't agree.
I don't agree with anything. That's my job.
You don't disagree with the things you like.
That's false. Even when I like it, I will find something to say.
By the way, we had a similar campaign for Orchard 1 at one point. I think it was actually roughly around 1.8, 9 or something like that, where we also said that, okay, the next version will be about bug fixes, which would be kind of the first part of this. And we won't merge any features or any refactorings, other kind of improvements, but only about focus on quality improvement for this release. And
you know what I think we should do about that quality? I'm sorry to interrupt, but instead of calling it 1.10, maybe we should just call it 2.0 and start from there, because even 1.9, we might want to just call it 2.0 because we just have so many breaking changes. And we really shouldn't be releasing that. Well, no breaking changes in one dot, if it's not major. So, I mean, we might want to just consider calling the 1.9 release a 2.0, and because of all these breaking changes, and just, from there, do 2.1 will be trying to stabilize it even more, and just, just a thought, just because of all these breaking changes we have.
You know what? We should call it 1.9 and 2.0, because some people are completely blocked by the fact that it's called 2.0 and don't want to upgrade. It's too big of a change for them. But if you call it 1.9 and there is a migration path, they will be, oh, that's fine. On the opposite, if you don't call it 2.0, some people won't upgrade. Really, oh, you have breaking changes and it's the same. So I'm feeling that we should call it 1.9 and 2.0, and they decide which version they want to use. It's the same product. That would be fun.
That would definitely be fun. So,
no, and I've seen that with Gint. People will not use Gint 3.0.0 beta because it was dash beta. And it was in production for years in every way, but it was dash beta. So if you just remove the beta and had the same bugs or 10 times more bugs, they would be just fine with that, because there was a beta, so we don't want to use it. So just talking psychology of numbers, not even practicity. That's why I was suggesting let's call it the two of them, and everyone is happy.
Well, that would be an innovation with version numbers.
Yeah.
Perhaps I wouldn't do that. But yeah, we haven't been following semantic versioning with bundle.txt. Unfortunately, that's another issue we need to fix. We have been talking about that under the 2.0 discussion. I wouldn't necessarily go that far because we talked about some kind of refactoring for 2.0, which would be a good point to do refactoring, but I would definitely not want to do any heavy in-depth refactoring without having some robust QA in place. So yeah, it's a little bit chicken and egg, but I think what we have currently for 9.1.9 is suitable for a 1.9. Then we can have a quality focused 1.10, and then we can take a deep breath, refocus, and say that, okay, now we'll follow semantic versioning, and now we'll stabilize the APIs, and this is the new and shiny 2.0.
I don't think you can say we don't take new feature, we just take quality stuff, because people will like, or you have two branches, you will need two branches so people can put new features in one branch and fix something in the other, but then they will conflict, they will never merge, because we don't have the capacity to handle all these things at the different times. Or Benedek or you to work like for months to come back in time to fix all the things we didn't do for years. And like, how do you say to people, oh no, we don't want your new feature, we are fixing issues for the next 3 months? And they're like, I want the new feature, why don't you? No.
I would say it exactly like that in a comment. We could make it more apparent, like we can have a sticky issue, and in the contributors docs, we can add forwarding about it and whatnot. But in the end, there can be pull requests that we just reject, and especially if we decide on such a focus, we can temporarily reject, or not really reject, but table pull requests. I don't know. It's not ideal. It's not ideal either way, but we can't do, for example, static colonizes at the same time of merging features, because static colonizes will break every pull or cause merge conflicts in every pull request, and that's not a good thing either.
Okay, time to go. Thanks everyone. Also, I say the meeting on Thursday, so see you next Tuesday.
All right, bye everyone.
See you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.